The air smelled of fresh coffee and cinnamon rolls as Maya unlocked the door to her cozy Seattle apartment. At 32, she'd built a life she was proud of, a stable job as a graphic designer, a tight-knit group of friends, and a marriage to her high school sweetheart, Ethan. Their apartment was small but filled with warmth. Plants lined the windowsills, Polaroids of their adventures pinned to a corkboard, and a well-loved couch where they'd spend countless evenings binge-watching sci-fi shows. Maya wasn't rich, but she felt rich in love and purpose. Ethan's family, the Thompsons, were a different story. They were a sprawling clan from a wealthy suburb, known for their annual family reunions at a luxurious lakeside estate in Idaho. Maya had attended 3 reunions since marrying Ethan 5 years ago, and while they were never perfect, his parents, Carol and Richard, could be aloof. She'd always felt tolerated, if not fully embraced. She chalked it up to their old money sensibilities clashing with her middle-class roots. Still, she made an effort, baking pies for the potluck, engaging Ethan's cousins in conversation, even enduring Carol's backhanded compliments about her cute little job. This year, the reunion was set for late July, and Maya was excited. She'd been working overtime to afford a new dress, hoping to fit in better with the Thompsons' polished aesthetic. Ethan had been distant lately, stressed about work, but they'd planned to drive up together, a 6-hour road trip filled with their usual banter and playlists. The night before the trip, Maya packed their bags, humming to herself, imagining the weekend ahead, lakeside barbecues, fireworks, maybe even a chance to bond with Ethan's elusive younger sister, Lila. But when Ethan came home from work, his face was tight, his shoulders hunched. "Maya," he said, avoiding her eyes, "there's been a change of plans." Her stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" she asked, setting down the suitcase. She hesitated, then blurted, "Mom says the estate's at capacity this year. They're limiting +1s. I'm going, but you can't come." Maya blinked, the words not quite landing. "What? I'm your wife. How am I a +1? Her voice trembled with disbelief. Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "It's just how they're doing it. Lila's boyfriend isn't coming either. It's not personal." "Not personal?" Maya's mind reeled. She pictured the sprawling estate. 3 guest houses, a dozen bedrooms, space for 50 people. Capacity? It was absurd. Her chest tightened as she searched Ethan's face for a sign he was joking. But he just stood there, muttering about how it was out of his hands. She felt a wave of hurt, sharp and cold, like stepping into an icy lake. "So you're going without me?" she asked, her voice small. "I have to," Ethan said, defensive. "It's family tradition. You get it, right?" Maya didn't get it. She spent the night on the couch, staring at the ceiling, trying to rationalize it. Maybe it was just logistics. Maybe she was overreacting. But deep down, a nagging voice whispered, "This isn't right." The next morning, Ethan left for Idaho, promising to call. Maya stayed behind, the apartment feeling too quiet without him. She tried to distract herself with work, but her mind kept drifting to the reunion. She imagined Ethan laughing with his cousins, Carol clinking wine glasses, all of them carrying on without her. The exclusion stung, but what hurt more was Ethan's casual acceptance of it. Over the weekend, she scrolled through social media, hoping for a glimpse of the event. Sure enough, Ethan's cousin posted a photo. A massive group shot by the lake, at least 40 people, including faces Maya didn't recognize. She zoomed in, her heart sinking. There was Lila's boyfriend, grinning in a polo shirt. So much for no +1s. Worse, she spotted Ethan's ex-girlfriend, Sarah, who dated him in college and still lingered in family photos. Sarah wasn't even family. Why was she there? Maya's shock turned to anger. She texted Ethan, "Saw the pics. Lila's boyfriend is there. Sarah too. What's going on?" His reply came hours later. "Mom invited Sarah last minute. I didn't know. Can we talk when I'm back?" No apology, no explanation, just deflection. Maya's. When Ethan returned, Maya confronted him. "Why didn't you stand up for me?" she demanded, her voice shaking. "You let them exclude me, and lied about why." Ethan sighed, running a hand through his hair. "You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's one weekend. Mom just wanted a smaller group this year." "Smaller?" Maya snapped. "There were strangers there, Ethan. And Sarah? Your ex? How is that not personal?" He shrugged. muttering about how his mom meant well and Maya was too sensitive. The gaslighting made her blood boil, but she bit her tongue, not wanting to escalate further. Over the next few weeks, Maya started noticing things she'd overlooked before. Carol's calls to Ethan always came when Maya was out of earshot. At a family dinner, Richard forgot to set a place for her at the table, forcing her to eat in the kitchen. Lila made snide comments about Maya's artsy career, implying it wasn't serious. Each incident was small, but together, they painted a picture. The Thompsons didn't just tolerate her, they actively sidelined her. Maya confided in her best friend Priya, who didn't mince words. "They're freezing you out," Priya said over coffee. "It's not about space or logistics. They don't see you as family." Priya's words hit like a punch. Maya had spent years trying to win them over, but now she saw it. The Thompsons were sending a message. She wasn't welcome. Determined to confirm her suspicions, Maya started documenting incidents. She saved screenshots of family posts, noted conversations where she was dismissed, and even recorded a voicemail from Carol accidentally, inviting Ethan to a dinner Maya wasn't told about. The evidence piled up, each piece fueling her indignation. She wasn't imagining it. This was a pattern. She tried addressing it one last time. At a family barbecue, she pulled Carol aside. "I felt hurt about the reunion," she said, keeping her tone calm. "It seemed like I was singled out. Can we talk about it?" Carol's smile was tight. "Oh, Maya, don't be dramatic. We had to make tough choices, you understand." The dismissal was so smooth, so practiced, that Maya realized Carol knew exactly what she was doing. The breaking point came 3 months later, at Thanksgiving. Maya and Ethan were hosting for the first time, a chance to prove she could hold her own. She spent days preparing, roasting a turkey, baking her grandmother's cornbread recipe, decorating the apartment with autumn leaves. She even bought a new tablecloth to impress Carol, who'd once commented that Maya's decor was too bohemian. The Thompsons arrived, all smiles and compliments. For a moment, Maya dared to hope. But as dinner began, Carol took over, rearranging the seating to put Sarah, yes, Sarah, who'd been invited as a family friend, next to Ethan. Maya was relegated to the end of the table, next to a cousin's toddler. Throughout the meal, Carol praised Sarah's new job, her charity work, her, quote, impeccable taste. Maya's contributions, the food, the ambiance, were ignored. When she tried to join the conversation, Richard cut her off to ask Ethan about his job. The final straw came during dessert. Maya had spent hours perfecting a pumpkin pie, a recipe she'd practiced for weeks. As she served it, Carol waved her hand. "Oh, Maya, we brought Sarah's pecan pie. It's a family favorite. You don't mind, do you?" Without waiting for an answer, Carol replaced Maya's pie with Sarah's, passing it around as if Maya's didn't exist. The table fell silent, all eyes on Maya. Ethan stared at his plate, saying nothing. Nassim. Humiliation burned in Maya's chest. She excused herself to the kitchen, gripping the counter to steady her shaking hands. The room spun as years of slights flashed through her mind. The reunion, the dinners, the comments, now this. It wasn't just disrespect, it was a deliberate erasure of her place in Ethan's life. She heard laughter from the dining room, Sarah's voice rising above the rest. Something snapped inside her. She wasn't going to take it anymore. Back in the dining room, Maya plastered on a smile, playing the gracious host until the Thompsons left. But inside, she was plotting. She wasn't going to scream or beg for respect. That hadn't worked. Instead, she'd expose their behavior and reclaim her dignity on her terms. First, she confronted Ethan. "I'm done being your family's doormat," she said, her voice steady. "You either stand with me or we're done." Ethan was shaken, promising to talk to his parents, but Maya wasn't holding her breath. She needed a plan that didn't rely on him. She started by gathering her evidence, screenshots, voicemails, even a photo of the Thanksgiving table with Sarah in her seat. She wrote a detailed account of every incident, framing it as a letter to the Thompsons. But she didn't send it to them. Instead, she posted it anonymously on a Reddit-style forum, titled AITA for cutting off my in-laws after they excluded me. She included enough detail to make the story vivid, but changed names to protect identities. The post was strategic. She wanted validation, yes, but also perspective. If she was overreacting, the internet would tell her. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of upvotes, hundreds of comments. NTA, They're bullying you. This is emotional abuse. Your husband's complicity is the real issue. The support fueled her resolve, but one comment stuck out. Don't just cut them off. Show them you're not invisible. Inspired, Maya devised her response. The Thompsons were planning a Christmas trip to Aspen, a family tradition they'd bragged about for months. Ethan had already booked their flights, but Maya had access to the itinerary through their shared email. She didn't cancel their trip. That felt too petty. Instead, she booked herself a solo trip to a wellness retreat in Costa Rica, using savings she'd set aside for a new car. She'd be gone the entire week of their Aspen vacation, leaving Ethan to face his family alone. Before leaving, she sent the Thompsons an email. Not the angry letter she'd written, but a calm, deliberate message. I've noticed I'm often excluded from family events, like the reunion and Thanksgiving. I deserve respect as Ethan's wife. Until that changes, I'll be stepping back from family gatherings. I hope we can move forward differently. She CC'd Ethan, ensuring he couldn't claim ignorance. The email was her line in the sand. The Costa Rica trip was her declaration of independence. She wasn't just running away, she was choosing herself. When Maya returned from Costa Rica, bronzed and centered, she found her post had gone viral. Commenters praised her for setting boundaries, though some called her petty for the trip. The mixed reactions mirrored her real-life fallout. Ethan was furious, saying she'd embarrassed him by emailing his family. You could have talked to me first, he said. Maya held firm. I tried talking, you didn't listen. To her surprise, Ethan's cousin Nate reached out. He'd always been quiet at family events, but now he confessed he'd seen how Carol targeted Maya. Mom's always been territorial, he said. I'm sorry I didn't speak up. Nate's support was a lifeline, proof she wasn't alone. Carol predictably played the victim. She called Maya, tearfully claiming the email was hurtful, and she'd never meant to exclude anyone. Maya didn't buy it. I'm open to rebuilding, she said, but only if you acknowledge what happened. Carol hung up, and Maya knew reconciliation was unlikely. The broader family was split. Lila sided with her parents, texting Maya to, quote, stop causing drama, but Ethan's aunt, Susan, sent a thoughtful note, admitting she'd noticed Carol's behavior, but hadn't intervened. You did the right thing, Susan wrote. We need to do better. The varied reactions showed Maya who her allies were and who'd never change. Ethan was the wild card. After weeks of tension, he admitted he'd been wrong to let his family disrespect her. I was scared of rocking the boat, he said. I see it now. He started therapy, and they began couples counseling. A slow process to rebuild trust. Maya wasn't sure if they'd make it, but she was clear. Her self-respect came first. 6 months later, Maya sat in her apartment, sipping tea as rain pattered against the windows. The Thompsons hadn't apologized, and she'd skipped their latest gathering, a birthday party for Richard. Ethan went, but called her every night, a small sign of progress. She'd heard through Nate that Carol was devastated by Maya's absence, which felt like a hollow victory. Vindication wasn't as sweet as she'd expected. What felt sweeter was her growth. Costa Rica had reminded her of her strength. Yoga by the ocean, journaling under palm trees, rediscovering the woman she'd been before the Tom demand to fit in. She'd started setting boundaries everywhere, saying no to overtime, prioritizing friends like Priya, even redecorating the apartment to reflect her taste, not Carol's. Her Reddit posts still got comments, people sharing their own stories of exclusion. Maya responded when she could, offering advice, document everything. Trust your gut. You deserve better. She wasn't fully healed. Ethan's silence at Thanksgiving still stung, and she missed the idea of a warm extended family. But she'd learned to value her own worth, a lesson no one could take away. As she looked at the corkboard of Polaroids, now with a new photo of her smiling in Costa Rica, Maya felt a quiet resolve. She wasn't just Ethan's wife or the Thompsons' outcast. She was Maya, and she was enough.